Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. I pray you guys are all doing well today. Blessed on this July 31st, 2021. And I want to bring to you guys an update as we have been watching August 3rd and 4th, and then more specifically, even August 2nd. August 2nd for the possible day of our escape. And I have, over the last 3 to 4 days, been focusing on anywhere between August 2nd and August 4th. So, as you can see here on my channel, my last 6 messages are focused on this time frame. Okay, if you want to go back and check these videos out, if you haven't seen these videos, one video is 16 minutes and then another is 5, 2, 21, 7, and 16. That means you can watch everything in about 1 hour. Okay? My last 6 videos are around 1 hour total. Okay? So there's no reason why anybody can't go and get caught up if they want to. See what I've already shared on this subject. Now, I want to add some pieces of information to this today. And I want to especially focus not only on August 2nd, but on August 1st and 2nd. Okay. Right now we're at July 31st. I mean, we are at a time frame where rapture is going to happen any moment and any day now. There are serious things happening in the world today. And so there's no doubt we are at a time in history, a time in biblical prophecy where at any moment now the floodgates are going to open. Okay? But let's take a look at August 1st. And I want to show you some things throughout history and current events that show us where we are in the timeline. Okay? This day in history, August 1st, 1914. First World War erupts. Okay? This is a huge marker in world history, has to do with this time frame. And let's just read a little bit of this information from the History Channel, which says 4 days after Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, Germany and Russia declared war against each other. France orders a general mobilization, and the first German army units cross into Luxembourg in preparation for the German invasion of France. During the next 3 days, Russia, France, Belgium, and Great Britain all lined up against Austria-Hungary and Germany, and the German army invaded Belgium. The Great War that ensued was one of unprecedented destruction and loss of life, resulting in the deaths of some 20 million soldiers and civilians. Okay? Goes on to say that on June 28th, 1914, an event that is widely regarded as sparking the outbreak of World War I, and it goes on to share some of the history leading up to August 1st and what History Channel is calling the eruption of World War I on this day. Obviously, it did not just happen out of the blue, but there were many things leading up to the beginning of World War I. But World War I broke out officially on August 1st. Okay? Very key marker in world history. Now, I want to share a piece of information with you that is leading up to the Second World War and how it's all connected also to the same date, August 1st, 1934. With Paul von Hindenburg on his deathbed, the German government passed the law on the head of state of German Reich, which abolished the title of president and merged its powers with those of chancellor. Hitler was now to be known as Führer and Reich Chancellor. Passage of the law was not announced until noon the following day. Okay. August 1st, they knew that Paul von Hindenburg was on his deathbed and was going to be dying. And they passed the law to abolish the title of president and then merge the powers with those of chancellor. And Hitler was put into power between August 1st and August 2nd. The next day, Paul von Hindenburg died on August 2nd at 9 o'clock in the morning at his estate in Neudeck. Okay. So, for between August 1st and August 2nd of 1934, Hitler came into power as Reich Chancellor. Okay. Okay, do you see a pattern establishing here? First World War begins. August 1st, Adolf Hitler coming into power on August 1st and August 2nd. Okay. Now, I want to take you to an event that happened 4 years ago to the day, August 1st, 2017. Many of you have probably forgotten about this, but I have not forgotten about this very key marker in world history. August 1st, 2017. As we shared when this happened, as we have shared many times since this happened in 2017, this was a precursor and a preparation for the world to be microchipped and to be marked. This was the beginning stages of bringing forth the mark of the beast, the chipping of humanity into the forefront, and putting it in the news in such a way that this was going to be the wave of the future. This was the way to go. Wisconsin company holds chip party to microchip workers. 50 workers from this company were microchipped on August 1st, 2017. Okay, here we have a pattern, right? We have a pattern developing. World War I, World War II, the rise of Hitler, the chipping of the world. Why is this happening on August 1st? Can you see the importance of this time frame? We are in a time frame right now that connects us with, now, not only that, this event that happened on August 1st, 2017 was actually the 9th of Av. If you go to the Hebrew calendar to August 1st, 2017, you will see this was the 9th of Av. This was the day of the destruction of both temples. Okay? Whether it happens exactly on that day or around that time frame, the 5th month of the Hebrew calendar is a very key time for the takeover and the destruction of the temples and the invasions that have happened throughout history. The 5th Hebrew month. This is where we are right now. This is what we have been watching since July 20th, July 26th, leading up to this time over the next few days where we still are in a high watch period. Okay, this happened on August 1st, 2017. Now, we have something that's happening today and is going to be really put into effect tomorrow, between today and tomorrow. And this is going to affect millions and millions and millions of people in the United States. And I don't know how much this has been throughout the world, but in the United States, we have something that is coming to an end today, and millions of people are going to be affected between today and tomorrow. And this has to do with the national eviction ban that ends July 31st. What's the date today? Today is July 31st. The national eviction ban is ending today. That means that millions of people, okay? What is this? This article says it right here. Key points. Millions of Americans could face eviction when the national moratorium expires on July 31st. Okay? This is a huge piece of information. Millions of people are going to be left out on the streets. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go? How are they going to survive? Who is going to help them? Are they going to trust their governments? Okay. What is the government going to require? For anyone who wants help from the government, do you not see where this is going? This is obviously connected to the Wisconsin shipping party that took place on August 1st. Anyone who's going to need help from the government is going to need a vaccination. August 1st, the beginning of the evictions. Those who have not been able to pay their rent since the beginning of the COVID crisis. National eviction ban. Okay, there's been a ban on evictions. That means people have received grace. They've received help. The government has stepped in to cover costs and to cover maintenance and to cover all of the overhead that is needed by all these apartment buildings and houses. And nationwide, there has been a national eviction ban. In other words, you can't pay your rent, you're not going to lose your home. But that ends. That moratorium is ending today and goes into effect tomorrow. Okay? All right. World War I, August 1st. The rise of Adolf Hitler, August 1st. Wisconsin shipping party, August 1st. Millions thrown out of their homes on August 1st. Okay. Now, I want to show you something in Stellarium. Okay. On August 2nd. Now, I'm going to show you two different things, and you're not going to be able to see the connection without some deeper understanding. But I want to show you two things here. I want to show you the sun in Cancer connected to Mercury, okay, on August 2nd. Okay, Mercury is the messenger, and the sun in the constellation of Cancer. Now I want to show you Saturn, okay, in the constellation of Capricorn, where it has been since December, since the great conjunction that took place right out here in front of Capricorn. Saturn has remained in Capricorn this whole entire year, and it remains there. But there is something happening on August 2nd that makes this very interesting, between Saturn being in Capricorn and the sun being in Cancer. And this has to do with Saturn being at opposition, August 1st and 2nd. Still near Jupiter, but if you see it on, if you see it here on Stellarium, you'll see that Saturn is in Capricorn and Jupiter is up here in Aquarius. So they're not in the same constellation, and relatively they're not as close as they were on the Great Conjunction. They're still in the same area, but they're not anywhere near as close as they were on the Great Conjunction of December. Okay, so Saturn is in Capricorn. But what does this mean? Saturn at opposition, August 1st and 2nd. Okay. Saturn at opposition. When viewed through a telescope, Saturn is our solar system's most glorious planet. But to the eye, Saturn isn't as noticeable as bright Jupiter. Luckily, we're still less than a year past the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. That happened on December 21st, 2020. At that time, Saturn and Jupiter were exceedingly close in the sky. Now, as Saturn reaches its opposition on August 1st and 2nd, Saturn and Jupiter are still close. Keep reading to learn how Jupiter and the Moon can help you find Saturn on the sky's dome. Earth's faster motion in orbit brings Saturn to opposition once each year. Opposition is a big yearly milestone for observing the ringed planet Saturn or any outer planet. It happens when we on Earth fly between that planet and the sun. At opposition, an outer planet is generally closest to Earth and brightest for that year. Saturn's opposition comes on August 2nd at about 6 o'clock UTC time. That is August 2nd at 3 a.m. ADT, 2 a.m. EDT, 1 a.m. Central Time, and 12 midnight Mountain Time. Yet on August 1st, it's at 11 p.m. Pacific Time and 10 p.m. Alaska Time and 8 p.m. Hawaiian Time. Okay. Don't worry about exact times too much. Just know that in early August 2021, Saturn is generally opposite the Sun in Earth's sky at opposition. Saturn rises in the east around sunset, climbs highest up for the night around midnight, and sets in the west around sunrise. When opposite the Sun, Saturn is visible all night, and it's at its brightest seen from Earth. Okay, so what I was showing you on Stellarium is that if you have Saturn here in Capricorn and you have the Sun in Cancer, well, these are exact opposites in the sky. It's exactly halfway around the orbit. In other words, it's as though it were like an eclipse, with the Sun on one side, the Moon, the Earth in the middle, and Saturn is at opposition. That means it's farthest away from the Sun. That means it's brightest because the Sun is farthest away. It's not obstructing the view. That means Saturn is at its brightest, and it's also closest to Earth at this time. Okay? So what does this have to do with anything? Saturn being at opposition, being the brightest, being closest to Earth. Okay? Well, I want to show you that biblically there is a biblical understanding of Saturn. And Saturn is the planet that is known as the one that devours the children. Saturn devouring the children is the name of the painting given by Spanish artist Francisco Goya. According to the traditional interpretation, it depicts the Greek myth of the Titan Cronus in the title romanized to Saturn, who feared that he would be overthrown by one of his children. He ate each one upon their birth. Okay? Saturn devouring his children. Okay? Now, how did I mention to you that this is a biblical understanding? Revelation 12, 3 through 5. There appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, 7 crowns upon his heads. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. She brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Okay, what does it say in verse 4? To devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay. What do we know about Saturn? Saturn is the one that devours the children. Okay. So, how is this connected? Well, Saturn is brightest on August 1st and 2nd. It's closest to Earth on August 1st and 2nd. I believe this is a very important sign connected to everything else we're watching. As we began watching August 3rd and 4th, and then after the 8.2 earthquake in Alaska, we began seeing other details leading us to August 2nd. Okay? Now we have information about the First World War, the rise of Adolf Hitler, the Wisconsin Shipping Party, all the evictions that are going to be taking place, which are going to drive the people, especially those who have not been vaccinated, to get the vaccination so they can get the help they need from the government. If there are any holdouts, these people will not receive anything from the government. Do not be deceived, my brothers and sisters. Okay? The government is going to push the need for the vaccination for any type of governmental help that is going to come from here on out. Okay? The unvaccinated will not be receiving any type of help. You will not be able to buy or sell without it. You will not receive any governmental services without the mark of the beast. Okay? So we have this connected to this time frame. Millions of homeless people beginning on August 1st. Then we have in the heavens a sign of Saturn being at its brightest. Saturn representing Satan. Saturn representing the red dragon. Being at its brightest. Being at its closest to earth. The one that devours the children. The final sign of Revelation 12. The red dragon. The one that devours the children. Is this the sign? Now here is this other piece of information that I have shared over the last couple days that brought us to this understanding of August 2nd. We were watching the great American eclipses, and the middle point that brought us to December 14th. Between the first great American eclipse and the final great American eclipse on April 8th of 2024, the middle point was December 14th. That brought us the beginning of the vaccinations. That brought us the Electoral College and the election of Joe Biden, which is the right-hand man of Barack Obama, back in power. Then we have the whole time frame that we were watching with the Revelation 12 sign, leading us to first fruits, leading us to Pentecost, leading us to the June 10th solar eclipse, leading us to the 40-day warning to Tisha B'Av. This whole thing that we've been watching leading up to July 20th, and then the connection to Tu B'Av and July 26th. Well, now we have another event that took place in 2017. Just as we saw that there was a chipping party that took place here on August 1st, 2017, then we had the Great American Eclipse, then we had the Revelation 12 sign, and then we have this order given by Donald Trump, the order to restore Jerusalem, the United States recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel on December 6th. Okay. What do we get if we go forward the 1,335 days? Brings us to August 2nd. Okay. Do you think all of these other signs showing us the importance of this time frame in world history don't mean anything? Even now, a sign in the heavens of Saturn being closest to Earth, brightest in the sky, exactly on this day. Okay. And now we have the order to restore Jerusalem. Remember from Daniel chapter 9, the timeline of Daniel begins from the order to restore Jerusalem. The day counts, the time counts, the calendar connections all begin from the order to restore Jerusalem. And in 2017, there was an order to restore Jerusalem. The United States recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, December 6, 2017. Going forward, 1,335 days brings us to August 2nd, 2021. Okay. Daniel 12, and 13. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,305 and 30 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Are we watching August 1st and August 2nd as the beginning of the Great Tribulation, the escape of the bride, and the rise of the Antichrist? Are these signs from the past on August 1st? And the signs even now in 2021, are these confirming where we are and what is about to take place on planet Earth? This is what I wanted to share with you. More information and connections to the next couple days as we're watching August 1st, August 2nd, leading up to what may be the escape of the bride just before the crowning of the Antichrist on his birthday, August 4th. Okay? So if August 4th is set up as the crowning of the Antichrist at his mega bash 60th birthday party on August 4th, then maybe the escape of the bride will happen just before that. And this is what we are watching for. So we continue to watch between August 1st and August 2nd, leading up to August 4th, for the escape of the bride and the rise of the Antichrist and the beginning of the Great Tribulation. I pray you guys are blessed today. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.